Hello everyone who has ever looked up at the sky and thought to themselves, yes, I want to be there. I am BorderWise and welcome to From the Depths, Let's Build, where we're continuing our recent trend of trying to build things that are somewhat in touch with reality, which is not an easy thing to do in a game in which physics is more of a suggestion than a hard rule, but we're trying it anyway. So, I was trying to make like a World War II-style propeller plane, and I intended for it to basically be a replica Spitfire, or as close as I could manage it, and I kind of missed. But this was a lot of fun to do. I wasn't in a mood to do anything particularly big, I wasn't in a mood to record anything particularly long or complicated, so, like, building a plane is just, it's jolly good fun. It doesn't take that long, and it's just great. And I actually have a 3D model, well, a 3D model of a Spitfire used as reference for this build. I kind of didn't quite manage it. I think, what went wrong with this? I think just the proportions are off, the cockpit isn't aligned exactly with where the wings would actually be. And yeah, but one thing I found myself doing almost automatically, and this is something you can kind of do with a smaller vehicle, is just you essentially hammer out the silhouette of it. So I just did that, like, from the top and from the side, and it's interesting what you learn about, I mean, just any real-life thing. Well, it's an artistic process, right? You look at a Spitfire trying to make a plane, and you learn what a Spitfire actually looks like, because there's a difference between, like, observing something closely for a purpose and just looking at it. Because I've seen pictures of Spitfires, and actually, like, one, like, in real life, actually. My dad dragged me to air shows when I was a kid every so often. It was a big deal whenever, like, you know, the old warbirds would be there. And when I say drag me to, I'd say, like, you know what, it was actually really good, it was interesting. Very good times. Thank you, Dad. And also, like, in a local museum, there is a Spitfire. Not a functional one, I believe that, like, you know, it's essentially just the hull of it now. Or maybe it's just a model, I don't know. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful aircraft. I didn't end up... I was tempted to decorate this thing with, like, you know, the classic World War II British Air Force symbols, like the roundels on the wings and stuff like that. I did not end up doing that, and I think that's just out of sheer laziness. I'm in the lazy phase. Like, there's weird phases with content creation where you're just, like, you're not in a mood for anything, and it's just an effort to do anything at all. I'm kind of there at the moment, to be perfectly honest with you, but it passes. That's the thing. You gotta remember, it passes. You just gotta kind of push through it and do something, anything, even if it's, like, not what you really plan to be doing, even if it's, like, not the most ambitious thing to do. And yeah, this is why, like, you know, running a YouTube channel is not a cunning way of avoiding a job. It's a cunning way of getting a job that pays really terribly, and yeah, that's why I'm still job hunting. Oh dear, I didn't mean to get real so quick. Let's talk about the plane. This is not a hull that I would have ever come up with on my own. Like, you ask me to design a plane, I will basically design a sky canoe. And yeah, like, this is like, actually, you know what I should do? I should go on the Wikipedia and look up the Spitfire. It is so hot that, like, there's no actual difference in temperature between my fingers and my phone screen, which makes doing anything just annoying. I'm mad. Oh yeah, so I decided to do this thing. If you want to make a plane faster, one of the, from the depths at least, one of the most straightforward way to do that is don't give it wings, and just have, if you wanted to have wings, just have the wings be decoration, or a mimic's block. Because the main thing that wings accomplish in From the Depths is adding a lot of unnecessary drag, because, like, you know, you don't need lift, you don't need, like, wings like they work in real life. Just pitching up and having enough thrust is easily enough to get your plane airborne. And yeah, like, the air is like water, so to speak, and the water is like jelly, so common refraining from the depths. So, yeah, wings are for decoration only. And this is me trying to... What I wanted to do here was try to get that rounded wing, that gorgeous, like, round wing of the Spitfire and other World War II style planes, and I didn't quite manage it. So here's some facts about the Spitfire for anyone who didn't know. The Supermarine Spitfire is a British single-seat fighter aircraft used by the Royal Air Force and other Allied countries before, during, and after World War II. Many variants of the Spitfire were built from the Mark I to the Rolls-Royce Griffin engine Mark 24, using several wing configurations and guns. I have no idea what make of Spitfire I was looking at for my 3D model. It was the only British Spitfire... it was the only British fighter produced continuously throughout the war. The Spitfire remains popular among enthusiasts. Around 70 remain airworthy, and many more are static exhibits in aviation museums throughout the world. Just looking at the picture of this thing on Wikipedia is like, this is a bloody gorgeous aircraft. It just looks... it's weird. It's like... It's hard to describe. Like, it's partially because, like, I don't know, it's had such a place in the popular imagination, because this is the thing that basically won the Battle of Britain, like, for the Brits. It was the thing, like, holding off Heinkel bombers and Messerschmitts and all that kind of thing over the skies and over the English Channel. Damn. Alright, so the first flight was on the 5th of March, 1936. It was introduced to the Air Force on the 4th of August, 1938, and it was retired in 1961. I guess the last users were the Irish Air Corps, so yeah. And it was produced from 1938 to 1948, a solid decade of production, so interesting how, like, throughout military history, depending, like, how widely the lifespan of a plane can be, because there's let's see, hold on. So, introduced 1938, retired 1961, about 23 years of service, which, it's not bad. It's not bad at all, but compare that to, what's it, the B-52. When the hell was that? I think that was 1952, actually. Admittedly, the B-52 is a special case, simply because that bloody thing just, I don't know, you just tweak the electronics of it, and it's just a big... You know, it's the BUFF. It is the big, ugly, fat friend. Let's see the service life, just to compare, because we're having fun here on the Wikipedia. Let's see. Let's see here. Introduction was 1955, still in service, so 5 years, 45 plus 45 plus 24. 45 plus 24 is like 69 years or so. Like, they're not far off for, you know, first flight was, well, the first flight was 71 years ago, so 69. I just realized. So yeah, that damn thing might push a century in its service. And yeah, like, I don't know, it's not the ugliest aircraft ever made, but yeah, you can... That's why it had... I wasn't making that up, by the way. Apparently that's a nickname for the B-52 Stratofortress, is BUFF, Big Ugly Fat, a word that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube, apparently. I mean, I am, but I don't want to, which is why Big Ugly Fat Friend. Anyway, so let's talk about the engine here. This engine was a big mistake. I really should have... I didn't actually need to make it this big, actually. But this is just me and my ongoing love affair, which you'll be happy to hear. I am getting over my whole pure carburetor, like, cooled by radiators phase. I am trying to get back into using turbochargers again. It's been a long time. I got out of the habit of it. I'm not sure exactly why. I think I just got lazy for a really long time. And yeah, this is me doing cunning Tetris with radiators. Yeah, radiators spoiled me rotten. I just want to radiate all the time. Yeah, let's keep reading about the Spitfire, because that's fun. Also, the AI compartment here is like a real compromise. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. The detection on this thing ends up being completely inadequate. I have, like... I don't know, I really should have, simply because there's not enough room in there for, like, actual, like, general-purpose processing power. So yeah, at the end, I just say, screw it. I'm having a day that's too warm, and I turn automatic detection on, which I never usually do. If I had more will to live, I guess. Wow, I didn't mean to say that, it just popped out. Please don't read too much into it, I'm doing fine. I would go back and I would, like, you know, fix this to have proper detection and be able to be, you know, good. Anyway, let's talk about the Spitfire. The Spitfire was designed as a short-range, high-performance interceptor aircraft by R.J. Mitchell, chief designer at Supermarine Aviation Works, which operated as a subsidiary of Vickers Armstrong from 1928. Oh. I see the word Vickers and I immediately think of a Vickers machine gun. Mitchell developed the Spitfire's distinctive elliptical wing, designed by Beverly Shenstone, with innovative sunken rivets to have the thinnest possible cross-section. That is something I noticed at the looking at the 3D model. I was thinking, like, wow, that is a extremely thin wing. Like, I don't know, I wasn't really expecting anything in particular, but yeah, that was like a... I don't know, I kind of thought maybe it's because I was thinking of, like, you know, American fighter planes from World War II, but, like, which are chunky. Or at least, I have the impression that they're chunky. I might want to check my facts on that, but yeah, very thin cross-section on the wing of a Spitfire. Okay, so innovative sunken rivets of the thinnest possible cross-section, achieving a potential top speed greater than that of several contemporary fighter aircraft, including the Hawker Hurricane. Mitchell continued to refine the design until his death in 1937, whereupon his colleague Joseph Smith took over as chief designer, overseeing the Spitfire's development through many variants. So that's a fascinating thing, actually. Like, I suppose it's not that uncommon throughout the vast tapestry of history and just, you know, military engineering, or engineering, really. It's just like the thing you design and the thing you, like, essentially get going off the ground, so to speak. You don't live to ever see it in action. It's a somber thought, actually. You know? Like, when Mitchell died, like 1937, just 2 years before the Second World War broke out, like, he might very well have had no idea of just how important a role the aircraft he designed would have to play in that conflict. Or maybe he did, I don't know. I could read further, but I'm reading on the Spitfire right now. Okay, first I need a drink of water. Aha, yum. I need to refill my water bottle. I'm sure everyone's fascinated to hear this. Anyway, it's too warm in here. During the Battle of Britain, July to October 1940, the public perceived the Spitfire to be the main RAF fighter. I mean, that's what my perception of it. Oh yeah, so, by the way, if you ever want to make a pretty gunfighter, you can hide stuff with decorations. So I was doing that because I didn't want the bloody ugly coincidence rangefinders poking out there. So I proceed to deco that. Just, you know, I stick in the deck port, and then I just hide the original mesh, and poof, it's gone. You'll never know it was there. Right. Alright, so the public perceived the Spitfire to be the main RAF fighter. However, the more numerous Hurricane shouldered more of the burden of resisting the Luftwaffe. Alright, so let's go. I'm going to open the Hawker Hurricane in a new tab. We can go read that in a bit. Nonetheless, the Spitfire was generally a better fighter aircraft than the Hurricane. Spitfire units had a lower attrition rate and a higher victory-to-loss ratio than Hurricanes, most likely due to the Spitfire's higher performance. During the battle, Spitfires generally engaged Luftwaffe fighters, mainly Messerschmitt Bf-109E series aircraft, which were a close match for them. After the Battle of Britain, the Spitfire superseded the Hurricane as the principal aircraft of RAF Fighter Command, and it was used in the European, Mediterranean, Pacific, and Southeast Asian theaters. Much loved by its pilots, the Spitfire operated in several roles, including interceptor, photo reconnaissance, fighter bomber and trainer, and it continued to do so until the 1950s. Oh yeah, by the way, this whole ailerons on the spin blocks things, I muck around with that, and then I throw my hands up in disgust and get rid of them. Give it a moment. Let's see here. The Seafire was an aircraft carrier-based adaptation of the Spitfire, used in the Fleet Air Arm from 1942 until the mid-1950s. The original airframe was designed to be powered by a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. Ah yes, the famous Rolls-Royce Merlin, producing 1,030 horsepower, or about 768 kilowatts. It was strong enough and adaptable enough to use increasingly powerful Merlins, and in later marks, Rolls-Royce Griffon engines producing up to 2,340 horsepower, or 1,745 kilowatts. Oh, that's the end of the sentence. As a result, the Spitfire's performance and capabilities improved over the course of its service life. Okay, so, and I don't know what happens here. Actually, no, I do know what happens here. It's just not enough pitch control. When in doubt, if you're playing, here's a trick that will save, hopefully, a lot of people a lot of problems. When you're building a plane in From the Depths, and particularly if you're doing the smart thing, or at least I think it's the smart thing, of, like, having it pitch towards its target altitude, which is just a really easy way of getting the damn thing to fly at the right height. Like, always make sure it has more pitch control than you think it does. So, yeah, like these, I don't know what was going on with these default air elevators, but the custom, what do you call it? The custom control surfaces are just so much better. And I realize that's not what, the Spitfire's whole bloody tail doesn't do that, but you know what? You have to compromise. Oh, the Hawker Hurricane. Interesting. Interesting. I want to look at these things side by side. See, the Hawker Hurricane, it looks kind of similar, but it's like, you know, it's a more chunky. It's more chunky. The cockpit is kind of more forward. Actually, I might have ended up with this very craft, like, It probably ends up looking far more like a Hurricane than it does a Spitfire. Whoops! Alright, so the Hawker Hurricane is a British single-seat fighter aircraft of the 1930s to 40s, which was designed and predominantly built by Hawker Aircraft Limited for the service with the Royal Air Force, the RAF. The really angry friends. What am I doing with my life? It was overshadowed in the public consciousness by the Supermarine Spitfire during the Battle of Britain in 1940, but the Hurricane inflicted 60% of the losses sustained by the Luftwaffe in the campaign, and fought in all the major theaters of the Second World War. Okay, let's see here. First flight in 6th of November 1935, introduction December 1937, and it doesn't say when it was retired. Is it still in service? That's nuts. Alright, but it was produced 1937 to 1944. Alright, so they stopped producing it in 1934. Okay. And what is happening here? Alright, so this is just a little bit of deco. There's a cable on the Spitfire. Hold on, let's see if the Wikipedia page has it. It does. It's basically not visible, not in this picture I see on Wikipedia, but it was present on the 3D model I was using as a reference. I'm not sure what it was. I'm guessing it was like a radio antenna of some kind. Anyway, it's strung in between the back of the pilot's cockpit, as opposed to the non-pilot's cockpit, which all planes have, and the tailplane. So I'm not sure what that does. I just saw it on the plane, and I put it on. What was I talking about? Alright, I was still reading about the Hurricane, and I better hurry the hell up because the video is almost over. Alright, so the Hurricane originated from discussions between RAF officials and aircraft designer Sir Sidney Calm about a proposed monoplane derivative of the Hawker Fury biplane in the early 1930s. Despite an institutional preference for biplanes and lack of interest by the Air Ministry, Hawker refined its monoplane proposal, incorporating several innovations which became critical to wartime fighter aircraft, including retractable landing gear and the more powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. The Air Ministry ordered Hawker's Interceptor monoplane in late 1934, and the prototype Hurricane K5083 performed its maiden flight on 6 November 1935. So, in the production of the Hurricane, it was actually some pretty important developments, like retractable landing gear for one. That's a big deal. It was like, you know, it's like not the first monoplane, and probably not even the first monoplane, as in a plane with just a single pair of wings. But yeah, it was like definitely a pioneer, actually, which is impressive. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention that, like, the Spitfire has like a triple propeller, and yeah, like you would have seen early in the video how I managed to do that. You can toggle which ones are actually displayed, and that actually ends up looking not amazing, but you know, it looks okay. It's a good first start. You gotta remember From the Depths that, like, you're never gonna nail it first try, but the thing is you have to go all the way with the first try, and you can see here, absolutely garbagey targeting, and weirdly enough, I would have thought that the Duster would be able to shoot this down easily because of missiles, but it's not quite managing that. Also, yeah, like 2-axis turrets, very much something important, and don't even have that connected. Gosh darn it. Yeah, so... yeah, having to... This is me looking at the AI compartment and being like, oh no, how? No, how? How? Why? I could actually just deadbolt some more detection onto those local weapon controllers, because that's totally fine and dandy, but that would have made the thing really ugly, so at the moment, I just go, you know what, screw it. I just want to, you know... what's it call it? I want like Wagner to start playing the bad, but da 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 da. And this plane actually, well, admittedly, me like changing the rules of the universe to, and also fiddling with the whatchamacallit, fiddling with the AI behavior. We actually do manage to shoot down the Duster. You see there, our bootleg Spitfire / Hawker Hurricane / who knows what the hell that thing actually is actually doing okay. I used to think that gunplanes were kind of not very good in From the Depths. Like, but the thing is, they're actually more cost-effective than sticking missiles on a plane, because even with the AI and the general-purpose processing power and all that stuff, they need less ammunition, and... like, all these simple weapons are actually cheaper, so if you have something like this is actually not a bad starter craft, really, if you're playing on an easier difficulty or an easier campaign. It's like, it's not bad. I actually quite like this thing. Let me know if you want me to put it up on the workshop. I'll be happy to do that. I'll fix the detection and everything. We'll call it, I don't know what we'll call it. We'll call it the, maybe the Hawkfire or something like that. Like, I don't know. That might be fun. In any case, thank you all so much for watching and indulging my rambling and reading off Wikipedia. That's totally stolen content. I'm gonna get sued. And thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, please share the video around. That also really helps. And support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like, because that really helps. And there's fun perks in it for you. I've got off script. And thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Let's build. Farewell.